Hey MVPs, RicoKnows here. Going to talk to you guys about the win total for UCLA. We're going to deep dive into UCLA today. UCLA, you guys see it here on the sports book at 5.5 wins. When I saw this, I instantly saw the under at 5.5 wins and said, this is the value bet of all value bets. Let's go. I believe in this. Lock it in under 5.5. And then as I sat here, started digesting it all, going through it, I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. It is not an under lock. It's actually an over lock at this point. So I'm a little torn. I'm going to show you why, and we'll talk about it, okay? So last year, UCLA, Chip Kelly as the head coach. They go out and get Dante Moore as a true freshman, and he's a 5-star quarterback, and everybody's talking about him. You guys need to understand, 5-star quarterbacks are terrible. You should not be starting them as true freshmen. They need to redshirt. They take a while before they become good. And that's not what happened here. They went ahead and started them, and they looked terrible. When they went up against Coastal Carolina, they threw 3 interceptions alone to Clayton Isbell Jr. He was just in the draft, did not get drafted. Shout out to him and his father. Reached out to me on TikTok and Twitter. Shout out to them. But nonetheless, they played Coastal Carolina. They still won the game. They still are a Power 5 team, dominating San Diego State, who's gross, beat NC Central, and then going to Utah, a ranked team, and being competitive with Utah. That told me, hey, my defense is good. I have Latu, or Latu, whatever. And then I had 2 weeks to prepare. I beat Washington State, lose in a competitive game to Oregon State, beat Stanford, beat Colorado, lose to Arizona State. Both not real big blowouts, but losing is losing, right? Then stomping the crosstown rival and embarrassing them. Caleb Williams is probably crying. And then losing to Cal. That one hurt really bad. Winning the bowl game against Boise State. Please understand, there are levels to this. Boise State, a Mountain West dominating team. Everybody wants to pull for them being great in the Power 5. And then you go against UCLA and you're like, oh, snap. They got real players over there. That's a good team, and that's exactly what happened. UCLA is actually much better than people think. They went 8-5 last year. They lose their head coach, and people are under the assumption that they're going to lose more games. Like they're only at 5.5 because they're moving to the Big Ten, and they play LSU. That's a problem. But my goodness, this team is great, man. There's some pieces here. Let's talk about it. So first and foremost, quarterback. Dante Moore left, and everybody talks about, oh my God, they lost Dante Moore. Yeah, he left, dude. That 53% completion percentage needs to go. All right, get that shit out of here. 53%, nearly even in touchdowns and interceptions. The real reason he left, he's getting sacked. He doesn't know how to throw the ball. He doesn't know who he's throwing to. And Ethan Garbers here just shows up and does it, man. 67% completion percentage. That's nearly 70%. Could you imagine if he was starting the whole time? Could you imagine if this young man was doing it? It's so impressive to me when you look at when he's always been above 60%. Always getting his opportunity, been above it. He's always done the right thing with the ball. I like this guy. Now, I watched him in the spring game. He's the only quarterback on the roster. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. I watched the spring game today, and I look back and watch it, and I'm like, ooh, yikes. It's a problem. Their backup isn't there. Colin Schlee just transferred out. He went to Virginia Tech. I think he's going to change positions, just so you know. And then running back. Carson Still went to the NFL. That's the Ball State transfer. But even then, these guys still led the conference in rushing. They led the conference in rushing. Yes, it's a different offense, but it's Eric Bieniemy. Eric sleeping with the enemy Bieniemy, a running back, an offense that he's going to build around a pro-style offense. You know, he was in the offensive coordinator at Kansas City, the offensive coordinator at Washington, and he has a way of doing things. One thing I noticed in the spring game is they do a lot of under center snaps. I understand the new wave is shotgun, option read, and all this other stuff. Bro, they were under center, and Ethan Garbers looks comfortable under center. It was wild, and they do have really good running backs. TJ Harden's still there. Keegan Jones, not Keegan Jones. Who's the other running back? It's none of these guys that I wanted to talk about. No, this is the Army transfer, Anthony Atkins, not a threat to be anything. It's TJ Harden and one more. I'm sorry, drawing a blank right now. Yeah, it is Keegan Jones. Keegan Jones moved over to running back. This is, I believe, St. John Bosco. Where's Keegan from? No, he's from Cleveland. What is wrong with me? I'm getting TJ Harden mixed up with him. Yeah. Oh, Inglewood. All right. Nonetheless, when you go look at their running back room, they're pretty good. They run well. That's just what they do. They churn first downs. When you look at the receiver room, you might not know how good they are, but I'm telling you they can play football. I'm telling you, these receivers are real. Logan Loyal's coming back. He's been in the program a while. Dude's always open. He's a walking first down, averaging 11 yards of reception, 5 touchdowns, 655 yards. This guy's always open. J. Michael Sturdivant is a dog. All right, was once the leading receiver at Cal, and then he transferred to UCLA last year, and now he's here. He's still – I didn't even pull him up, his stats and stuff. He's 6'3", right? 6'3", 205. A dog. Young, stud, can just beat you. And he didn't play in the spring game at all, and it gave other receivers a chance to try to show out and show what they can do, and I'll talk about them when I get to the depth chart. Moki Metavoya, whatever his name is here. Moki used to be in the rotation at Oregon. He's an Oregon tight end. He just transferred over. He was in the rotation. Good player. 6'6", 263. Homies does everything with passion. With everything with passion. They need him to take a big step forward this year. Kyle Ford left the team. Carson Ryan, I believe, left the team. I'll double check. Not worried about it. Cam Brown definitely left the team. Habermill got injured. They had 3 guys tear their ACLs. Habermill's one of them, and he was going to be a contributor on the team. It's unfortunate. And then we'll go kickers. I think Lopez left the portal. He's a touchback monster, but he cannot make field goals. Trust me, cannot make field goals. So this 6 out of 11, bro. We don't want this guy kicking anything, okay? On defense, they have some players. They did lose NFL talent. They lost Kamari Ramsey to the transfer portal going to USC. But my goodness, certain players look really good on film, and I'm going to talk about it, okay? So we'll go to their depth chart. J. Michael Sturdivant, complete stud. That's a known commodity. Nothing to worry about there. He's him. Rico Flores, transferring in from Notre Dame, got in the rotation in the spring because Sturdivant wasn't playing. Looked reliable. Looked like they had something going. But this kid right here, Titus McCoy Atumala. I think Titus used to be one of these youth football superstars. If you remember, there was like youth football, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, and they were saying, oh, he's so amazing he got his first offer. That was Titus, I'm pretty sure. And Titus he's from Hawaii. He went to UCF first, and now he's finally coming into his own, and he's a quality slot receiver. Good little dude. I like him. All right, he's good stuff. Logan Loyal, you can't mess with him. That's a slot receiver. I shouldn't have said slot. He's a Z, but you know what I'm saying. So there's some good players here. Offensive line needs some work. Bruno Finna's hurt. I believe he missed all of spring with an injury. There's not much depth. There's another injury I'm forgetting right now. But Spencer Holstage he was the best offensive lineman in the transfer portal last year. Came over from Purdue, one of the top-rated PFF, top-rated linemen out there. They got a really good lineman in their left guard here in Spencer Holstage. The rest of the line, I don't know. But I can tell you this. Their skill positions, they're all very, very good. Remember, I told you they get in traditional I sets? That's where Anthony Atkins comes in. That's that transfer from Army, and he's playing fullback. But they have just an old-school feel to them. They feel really good. I think they're playing well. One thing they're doing is winning in the transfer portal. Deshaun Foster has appeal, bro. Deshaun Foster's winning. So does obviously some of the NFL pedigree and Eric Bieniemy and some of the other position coaches that they have. They're going to win. And if you remember, UCLA has never been good because they dominated the city of LA in recruiting. No, it's nationally. Their best players, Jonathan Ogden, Troy Aikman, some of their best players are not from California. It's when they recruit nationally. And the transfer portal enables you to recruit nationally, and they're winning. And they're finding players in other places. And one of the players they found is this Collins A. Chapong, good dude. He doesn't show up until the fall. They need him. I don't think he's very good. He's coming over from Miami. I watched the tape. I saw a non-natural football player. They need depth. They had this number 44. I don't see him on here. 44 was playing defensive end. He was a linebacker, and they let him play edge rusher in the spring. He looked so good. Looked very good. I thought he was a natural pass rusher. I wouldn't be surprised if 44 is not in the rotation. Keanu Williams, I believe, is the Oregon transfer. Came over 2 years ago. I'm going to double check that. Yeah, Oregon transfer. Very good player. 6'5", 310. They got bodies, guys. They got players that can actually show up and do the damn thing. Right here, stud, okay? When I watched the tape, though, they rebuilt their secondary with the transfer portal. Brian Addison, the free safety from Oregon. Brian Addison is 6'5". You don't see 6'5" safeties all that often. You just don't. He sticks out. He looks like a player. I loved everything about it. Very competitive on everything he does. That is a stud player from the transfer portal. I think he's going to pay dividends early. I think he's great. Every time you watch film, 4 is everywhere, okay? So I really like what they were able to do. If you don't know, they held their team together. They had a bunch of guys jump in the portal. Some of them came back to the school because they believe in their coach. And there's something to be said about a school or a team that believes in themselves, right? Bryce Perry coming over from at tight end. He's going to be in the rotation, Arizona State. He was the backup tight end at Arizona State. Obviously, Jalen Connors was their starter. He just transferred to – where did he transfer to? Texas Tech. So Bryce Perry coming in, going to help them, but they're winning certain recruiting battles that they normally wouldn't all over the country just because they got it like that, man. They got it like that. I believe in Deshaun Foster. I believe in what he's doing. They got to evaluate the talent correctly, but they're going to win on certain cases. They're getting KJ Wallace. This is a young man that played a lot of football at Georgia Tech, transferring in, immediate starter. Okay, getting a Navy guy, it's just one of those feel-good stories where you had Ken Namatulu, whatever his name was. I'm forgetting how to say his last name. The new San Jose guy. But they get players from the service academies to come in and play well. I'm not moved by the Yale linebacker at all. This tape looks bad. Collins, he looks like a non-natural football player. I get it. He's a raw athlete, 6'7", 255, but he just didn't look like good tape to me. And I'm sure Miami's not hurting losing him. Getting a kicker from Cal, you need kickers because your players are bad. But that is the gem right there. This Brian Addison, 6'5", 180 from Oregon. Looks so good on tape. What's important is UCLA has not lost a lot of players on their rotation and in their two deep. They have not. These guys that are leaving, Colin Schleet's going to Virginia Tech, but he wasn't the starting quarterback. He wasn't the backup quarterback. It's not a big loss. You're losing your backup quarterback. Okay, cool. Losing Kyle Ford, former 5-star wide receiver. The recruiting websites just got it wrong. This guy never got in the rotation, and he's going back to USC. Whatever. RJ Lopez going to Purdue. He's just going to go do kickoffs. A kid, Jerry McClure, was not in the rotation, going to San Diego State, probably where he should have went coming out of high school. This is a kid who played at Mater Dei, but not Mater Dei that you're used to. Mater Dei Catholic in San Diego. It's a different Mater Dei. Kamari Ramsey can play football. He was a starter, and he's going to USC. They replaced it. Okay, corner going to USC. They replaced it. Going to San Diego State. Dante Moore going to Oregon. Congrats. Jake Wiley, that's a Colorado transfer. Showed up for 6 months or so. Wasn't really in the rotation. Now he's going to Houston. I still think this kid's going to all the wrong schools. Just so we're clear. Cam Brown, been at UCLA a long time, but wasn't in the rotation anymore because they upgraded at wide receiver. Going to Purdue. Congratulations. Carson Ryan, going back home to Utah. Bruno Finna, got him back out of the portal. Came back to the team. Jay Toyoa. Huge body guy, not in the rotation, but will be soon. 6'2", 315, got him back out of the portal, back on the team. That's important. Those two wins right there just show the team has got real camaraderie. One thing they have going is the donors are back, bro. So you guys know Deshaun Foster played at UCLA for a lot of years. He did like a fundraiser Friday before the spring game, and a lot of people showed up, and they actually got commitments. They had at least 2,000 different recruits. That's what he said. 2,000 different recruits at the school, different age groups and everything over the last 6 months or so that he feels are interested in going to the school because he's bringing back all the different traditions they used to do, like the walk from the Rose Bowl parking lot to the stadium, shaking hands with people, all that stuff. He's bringing back all the traditions he's used to doing as a coach, right? They did get a new long snapper in the transfer portal, not this kid. They got somebody else. Yeah, get rid of dudes who look like this, man. They're not going to help you win games, right? So UCLA, if you ask me, they got the right guy starting at quarterback finally. They got a really dynamic wide receiver core, good tight ends, both of them, good running backs. The offensive skill positions are very good, competitive, can get it done. The thing that separated them last year was the defensive side of the ball, Latu, Latau, and just playing out of his mind and causing real disruption. They lose that. But I believe they gain some real productivity on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're a little better than last year. I really do. So at least offensively. The problem with them is their schedule. So they play Hawaii first. I have them beating Hawaii on the road, getting 2 weeks to prepare for Indiana. Now, when I did Indiana's record totals, I had Indiana winning this game. But now that I look at it, UCLA with 2 weeks to prepare, they have the potential to beat Indiana here. If they don't, it's okay. If they don't beat Indiana, they're going to lose to LSU, lose to Oregon, lose to Penn State. Guys, they're better than Minnesota. They're going to go at Rutgers. They are a team that can actually score. UCLA can score points, and these teams don't play against teams that score, and they don't do well against teams that actually put up points. They're better than Nebraska. I think they give Iowa fits. I think they give Washington fits after Washington lost everybody. They already beat USC, and they're beating Fresno State. So if you look at it, they got to win at Hawaii, 1, 2, 3, definitely 4, and now they got to get to 5 and 6 here, and they got to beat these teams. It's just a brand thing. I just think that UCLA, and this is why I was on the under initially, but I think they're going to be better than a lot of these Big Ten teams that don't understand how good UCLA is. And I feel that way because we're ignoring the fact that they beat a team like Washington State, who was actually pretty damn good, or they only lost by a touchdown to Utah, lost by less than 10 points or 12 points to Oregon State, right? They're that caliber of team. And when they're beating the brakes off of Boise, I'm looking at some of those Big Ten teams going, Minnesota could never do that. No. Nebraska couldn't do that. No, this is a good team. And the players are that good. So now, you can fade it if you want. I initially was on the under, and I hate to flip-flop on you guys, but I'm on the over now. And it's not a lean, it's a lock. I'm on the over. I think UCLA, I think Deshaun Foster, Eric Bieniemy are great coaches. I think they know what they're doing. And I really like the trajectory of this team. Just looking at the talent, they got it. They got it. They got to stay injury-free. A lot of their wins are in the later half of the season, so hopefully they're not injured. They're not injured. But when you look at that schedule, yes, the potential to lose the locker room is there if they lose 4 in a row. Right? If they lose 4 in a row, the potential to lose the locker room is there. But it's Deshaun Foster, man. He's going to talk to them and tell them, be realistic. Hey, shout out to this right here. I'm focused, bro. But we're talking about Minnesota and at Rutgers. If they win those 2 games, they're back on track. They'll be 3-3 at that point, or 3-4, and they're going to put it together. I really don't like these teams trying to score with UCLA. These 3 right here, Nebraska, Iowa, and Washington's offense, it looks very problematic to me. Washington is not going to be the national championship runner-up that you're envisioning. They're going to be the TCU of last year. They're going to be a team that lost 8 to 10 NFL caliber players, lost a dozen transfer players. It's a different monster. And UCLA kept everything together. On an 8-win team, they kept their continuity together. We can't forget they won 8 games. So 7 in the regular season. They kept their continuity together. This is a little different. And for those of you who are thinking, well, they're not going to play a weak Colorado or Stanford, right? They're not playing these gimme games. Bro, remember, they got their wins against teams like USC, Washington State, who was nearly ranked at this time, or probably was. They did it, man. I really like UCLA. I do. I like them to win 6 games. So call it what you want. I'm prepared to miss. If you don't want to bet it, don't. But your friends don't know. But Rico knows. Peace, y'all.